Hi everyone, this is Daniel Eigenman, Capita Finance, and I'm here on a beautiful Friday morning down on the foreshore in Netherlands. And today I've asked my good friend Adam Gilbert of Realmark Western Suburbs to have a chat to us about the property market. Obviously with the sun, starting to shine, the weather starting to warm up, it's a good time to think about property. More buyers, more sellers are being involved, and I thought I'd just talk to Adam about the market, the sentiment, and hopefully he can give us some tips on how to be ready to sell the property or to buy a property. Adam, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, good, Daniel.
So Adam, let's just talk about, you talk about buyers and sellers on a daily basis.
Sure.
You have a really good feel for where the market is at. You've been in the business for 12 years. You've seen the ups and downs.
Yep.
Can you tell us about what you hear of the market right now in the market?
So are we talking in relation to buyers? Or
Yeah,
sellers,
let's talk
or
about
both?
sellers and then we can talk about buyers, yeah.
So one of the questions I get asked a lot is when's the good time to sell? And what I generally say is sell when others are not. It's a really competitive market right now. There's very limited stock. Demand is outstripping supply. It is a great time to sell. In addition to that, we've also got the pre-Christmas rush. We're finding
7 weeks to Christmas?
Yeah, so 7-8 weeks. We're finding a lot of people at the moment are trying to get in to register their kids in schools at the moment,
right, okay,
which is really important.
So school zones are important?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily about securing and settling before Christmas. It's really about, finding the right home at the moment and getting in early, securing the right property, getting the kids registered in school, and then knowing that they're going into Christmas and everything's done.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so from so what tips could you give if you've got a property you want to sell or you have to sell, what tips would you give to the seller in this market where we really are in a seller's market, aren't we?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what we've got to understand, more importantly, it's not about the journey of the seller, it's really about where the buyers are currently at and their journey. Yeah. And I think the most important thing around that is that you've got to plan early, you've got to be strategic around the approach, not only with the marketing, the pricing strategy, the presentation of the home. I think they're the fundamental things that sellers need to give consideration to and approach the campaign with structure as opposed to going, it's a good time to sell, let's get it on the market.
Okay.
So I think there's two parts to it. It's understanding the journey of the seller and it's understanding the buyer's journey. So a lot of buyers at the moment have been in the market for 3 to 5 months. There's very limited stock at the moment. They're getting to the point where they're getting almost frustrated. They're understanding where they distribute their time as opposed to what properties they go and look at. And properties that are not aligned or not attractive in the marketplace will get overlooked, even though it's a competitive market. So I guess it's really getting to that point at day zero when you launch the property that you've got the right presentation, the right approach, the right pricing strategy, and anticipation of getting as many buyers into the home as quickly as possible. Which leads to a competitive environment, and that then leads to the seller achieving the best outcome.
Right, okay. So when you say, you've got to, you don't just decide today to list tomorrow morning.
100%.
So how soon should you think about, selling your property? Is there an ideal time, or what do you find works the best?
So I think that comes back to timelines. So what I find with timelines is that traditionally it will take somewhere between 7 to 10 days, depending on what needs to be done on the property to get it to market.
Okay.
It takes generally about 2 to 3 days to actually launch a property to market. So you probably want to be aiming for 2 to 3 weeks out of launching to the market, but taking into consideration the time of year too.
All right, okay.
Because what you don't want to do is really launch the property right on Christmas. It probably wants to be before or just after.
All right, okay. So really, if you want to have your property on the market now before Christmas, you really have to do it now.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Now buyers, obviously I deal with a lot of buyers. I do a lot of pre-approvals. You mentioned that there's some frustration among the buyers. What's the biggest frustration buyers have?
I think the biggest frustration is destination. It's the time.
What do you mean by destination?
In terms of, they know what they want to live. They know what product they're looking for, the home, the location. Yep. I think the frustration comes in not being able to find the right or suitable property that meets their family's needs, and that leads then to frustration. So it's frustration in that there isn't a lot of choice,
okay,
and buyers are feeling at the moment where they basically have to choose the best of what's in the market as
Oh, right,
opposed
okay.
to having the choice of choosing the right property.
All right, okay. So as a buyer, you understand there's not much choice out there, but you might find the right property. What do you need to do as a buyer to be in the best position to buy? I mean, what do you look into a buyer?
So I think buyers, by the sheer climate conditions, are getting themselves into a better position to buy. We're noticing the properties are selling within 7 to 14 days, maybe even on the first weekend.
Okay.
And that's because they've got their finance sorted, they know what their budget is, excuse me, they know what they're looking for. So I guess the buyers are planning early too and getting themselves into a position of being ready to buy, and a lot of that has come through pain. It's come through pain where they've missed out on a property, they've missed out on the best property, they've been waiting 3 months for that property to come up, it's been sold to another buyer.
All right. So they weren't buyer ready then. That's what you're saying.
So they weren't buyer ready.
So
Exactly.
what's the main reason for not being buyer ready?
Planning.
Planning?
I
What about
think-
finance? Can you say finance?
Yeah, 100%. And I did mention that. I
Yeah.
think finance, there's a lot of
Like
elements.
pre-approval. So
Yeah,
when you see a buyer with a pre-approval, obviously you see these guys are ready to go. No, if the seller accepts the offer, we're pretty much ready to go, isn't it? So,
Yeah, well,
so it puts them in
100%.
a good position.
100%.
If you've got two buyers, very similar profile, same price, and you see one with a pre-approval, one without a pre-approval, does that make any difference?
Look, I think we always put it in the hands of the seller. So,
Okay.
it's about really giving the seller the best option to consider the best offer. So if I'm communicating to a seller that somebody's already done their pre-approval, they've spoken to a broker like
Yep.
yourself, they've got themselves in a good position, they make the contract as tight as possible, they make it as attractive as possible, that's going to be definitely appealing to a seller in
Okay.
this current market.
Okay. So really, if I can just summarize what we've just spoken about, right now it is more of a seller's market.
Very much so.
Yes, very much so.
Yep.
So that basically means that, as a buyer, there's less choice. Therefore, there's less competition for the sellers. But you've spoken about buyers and sellers need to plan, need to be ready.
100%.
For, I guess, a seller, you always mention the word destination. I do like that. And now if the seller understands where the next stage is for them, then a better position to market the property properly, and they're actually ready to go. With a buyer, obviously I deal with a lot of buyers. I tend to do quite a few pre-approvals just because of what Adam just said. You're in a good position. When you talk to an agent, when you're looking at a property and you already have a pre-approval, you're pretty much ready to go, it will put you in a better position.
100%.
All right. So really, it's all about planning, especially now 7 to 8 weeks out of Christmas. If you are looking at buying or selling, now is the time to talk to an expert. Don't talk to Adam about property. Talk to me about finance.
I think one thing I'd like to add on that is understanding that it's people first. So a seller is a buyer is a seller in most cases.
Yep.
And we talk about destination. The reason that there's a lack of stock in the marketplace at the moment is because the potential sellers that are thinking about coming to market equally don't know where they're going to go to.
All right, so they become a buyer.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this chicken and the egg. It's kind of, well, if the seller isn't understanding where they're going to go to, there's a blockage.
Yep. Okay.
So what happens is they hold back, they wait for the market to improve, they wait for a better time. And what tends to happen then is that you have this limited, in this market that we are today, you have this limited choice.
Okay.
So it's self-perpetuating. It's a cycle. So I guess the more sellers that come to market, the more choice buyers will have, the more properties that will come to market, and we'll regain some balance.
Okay.
But what I would say from a buyer's perspective at the moment, just to summarise, I think planning is critical.
Yep.
Talk to your broker early, talk to your settlement agents even, understand the implications or the benefits in buying now in this market. And really from a seller's perspective, it's plan early, be strategic, take a strategic approach to the marketing campaign, make sure that you attract the right audience by investing in the right marketing campaign, and then being in a position to make a decision early. And that's where the agent comes in. Because if the communication isn't effective to the seller, they're not going to be in a position to make the best informed decision. And that's where we see a lot of sellers passing up first offers or second offers in this market because they feel that they've got time, it's too early,
Yep.
but they don't understand the buyers have already been in the market for 3 to 5 months before that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's really about buyers and sellers being able to make informed decisions.
100%.
So if you've got any questions about properties, whether you want to buy, you want to sell, talk to Adam Gilbert at Realmark Netherlands, Western Suburbs. I will put the details down there. And if you want to talk about finance, you want to see where you're at, you want to look at your options, or you want to get pre-approval, actually a proper pre-approval organized, give me a call on 0412022110. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the sun and the blue sky. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Daniel.
Thank you.